freedom. If you are taking in a dose of that on a regular basis, or even conversing on a large level with people who are taking that in on a regular basis, what you're feeding yourself, your mind and your body and your spirit, begins to be toxic. And the liver is the thing that will help us to try to keep our body clean. But what are we doing to keep our minds clear? What are we doing to keep our minds clear? You know, and we're overloading the liver when we're giving our bodies messages of stress or disempowerment. But what are we doing? What's the liver of the mind? It sounds pretty gross, but really, what is the liver of the mind? If you are taking in nothing but a diet of negativity or disempowerment or fear, if you're taking that in all the time, you have to be able to process that to make the good useful and to discard that which is no longer serving you. So if our mind doesn't really have a liver, we've got to do that ourselves. You know, there's ways to do that. And I've been talking about these ways for as long as I've been present in being a conduit to universal wisdom. So we can, of course, meditate, and we can practice yoga, and we can walk in nature, and we can play, and we can do anything Zen, and we can just, disengage from the world, kind of like go off the grid. There are a lot of things that we can do which would act as the toxin release center for the mind. But number one, we're not necessarily practicing these things with enough frequency to mitigate the damage of the bombardment of what the news is pressing on us, or social media, the negative aspects of social media is pressing on us. Okay? But it's kind of interesting if you realize that when you take those toxins in your mind, that you got to figure out a way to clear it out. Just as I am judicious about what I put in my body just to not overtax my liver, I'm also incredibly judicious about not overtaxing my mind by what I feed it on a regular basis, because I don't want to have the repercussions of an imbalanced mind, body, and spirit. Because once this whole system of the sphere of our existence in this physical journey, once this gets off balance, it takes a lot more to get it balanced again than the energy and the choices that it takes to keep it balanced. Maintaining balance is relatively simple, but getting balanced is a lot harder. I think that I never saw before the correlation between these activities and how it acts as the liver for the mind, removing toxins. So from your guides and mine, I kind of like that analogy because it helps us to be more respectful and mindful of the fact that we do have to be aware of what we are processing through our mind on a regular basis. You know, it's interesting if you're a person that, eats a ton of fast food and, cheesy fries and bottles of whiskey, and you're just doing that all the time, at least you have the knowledge that you're doing it. The challenge with some of the news sources that might be capturing your attention is that you're not as mindful, because people aren't having a strong collective narrative that that's as toxic for your being as certain food choices and habits of eating are for your body. Okay? If you respect your body, also try to respect your mind more.